Week 14 Sunday is right in front of us, and we got a lot to talk about. We've got our matchups, we've got our power rankings, we've got our picks, and rounding things out with our storylines. Hit the intro.
Perfect.
Before we get too far into things, subscribe to support the channel. Without the subscriptions, without your views, your likes, your awesome comments and suggestions, this channel honestly just wouldn't be where it is today. So, of course, subscribe, like, comment to support the channel. And with that out of the way, it's on to the content. First things first, let's highlight our matchups. We have the San Francisco 49ers heading into Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, and this is going to be a fun matchup because we have two playoff level wildcard teams walking into this matchup. Cincinnati is top 5 in passing defense. San Francisco top 5 in rushing defense. Cincinnati's explosive offense is going to need to get going if they have any hopes of winning this game, and San Francisco needs to get their passing game going. George Kittle last week had a huge week, so if he can keep that level of play up, the 49ers might have a chance to win this game. Honestly, I'm just looking forward to an exciting matchup between two also very talented young coaches in the game. Kyle Shanahan taking on Zach Taylor. We got the quarterback matchup of Jimmy Garoppolo taking on Joe Burrow. Honestly, looking forward to a good one here. Two playoff level teams. Next matchup, Buffalo heading down to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And for Buffalo going into this matchup, they're coming off of a tough Monday Night Football loss against the now #1 seed in the AFC, New England Patriots, who I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in length in our storyline section of the video, considering they're on a bye week. But back to the Buffalo Bills, tough loss behind them. They have a very tough game ahead of them. One of the frontrunners in the NFC, a Super Bowl contender. Heck, this could very well be a Super Bowl caliber matchup between two very explosive offenses with some two very talented defenses. Very good coaches, Sean McDermott for Buffalo, Bruce Arians for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A quarterback battle between Josh Allen and, of course, Tom Brady. And, of course, a lot of explosive weapons on the field, from Stephon Diggs for Buffalo to Mike Evans for Tampa Bay, Rob Gronkowski as well, among others. So we got a lot to look forward to in this matchup. Buffalo absolutely needs every win they can get right now to remain not just in the playoff picture, but to try to hope to win back the AFC East crown from the New England Patriots. For Tampa in this one, the name of the game is just holding on to the ball. Honestly, Tampa Bay has been in a position to almost lose a few games this season, in part to turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, and the like. So Tampa Bay just needs to hold on to the ball in this one. And of course, you've got Tom Brady leading the way, so he's very familiar with what Buffalo could very well be bringing to the table. He's 32-3 all-time against the Buffalo Bills, but this should very well be a good matchup. Final matchup I want to spotlight, Monday Night Football, the LA Rams heading into Arizona to take on the Cardinals. For the Los Angeles Rams, they've dropped 3 of their last 4 games, getting that first win last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a much-needed tune-up victory for the LA Rams, who, as I've talked about at length plenty of times during this season, are incredibly talented from top to bottom. Quarterback Matthew Stafford has had a resurgent type of year with these LA Rams. Cooper Kupp, the leading receiver in the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. still weaving his way into this offense with a big highlight catch he had against Jacksonville last week. So, LA has a lot on the line in this one because they suffered a big loss to these Cardinals at home earlier in the season. If they can get a win against this Cardinals team right now, that could prove a lot for these final games towards the end of the season. Heck, they just need a few more losses, maybe by Arizona, to put themselves back in first place, potentially in the NFC West. And for Arizona, right now, it's just continuing to get Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins back into the flow of things. They had a nice little tune-up against the Chicago Bears last week to get their legs back underneath them, to get them back into game speed, back into, what to expect while they're on the field. Arizona's getting its best playmakers back on the field right now, very well rested and healthy, as this team is trying to make a playoff push. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the Arizona Cardinals very shortly, but in this matchup, we got a lot of big names on the field, a lot on the line, and a very good matchup out of the NFC West. Matchups out of the way, I want to move on to our power rankings, starting off with our number 5 team. I got the Kansas City Chiefs here, and I was a little bit debatable with the number 5 spot in my power rankings. I decided to give it to Kansas City considering they've won 5 of their last 5 games. A 5-game win streak is none too shabby, although Kansas City is still not playing at the level I think everybody is expecting them to be playing at. The defense has certainly been coming along over these last 5 weeks and has helped allow them to win these games, but the offense still feels like it's missing that big spark, that extra click, if you know what I'm saying. Like, the Kansas City Chiefs defense has been, holding its ground. The biggest win the Chiefs have had has been a 41-14 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders, who they're going to be playing this Sunday, but the Chiefs just haven't quite found themselves on offense. I don't really know what else to point at. Maybe it's a lack of creative play calling. Maybe defenses have started to figure out what Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill are capable of and what they need to do to kind of neutralize those threats. But Patrick Mahomes is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Head coach Andy Reid is still one of the best coaches in the NFL. And as we get closer to the postseason, the Kansas City Chiefs right now are first place in their division, have a number of big wins so far, but nothing to really hang their hat on besides that win over the Dallas Cowboys, who at the time didn't really have any of their outside playmakers in Amari Cooper and, of course, CeeDee Lamb. So the Chiefs haven't really been outscoring people as much as their defense has been outplaying people. And I want to see the Kansas City Chiefs offense continue to improve and maybe find that extra spark, maybe get that next gear, if you will. And maybe they could find themselves a little bit higher on this list as we get closer to playoff time. But right now, they're kind of my hesitant number 5 on the power ranking. Number 4 on the list, the number 1 seed in the AFC, the New England Patriots. I talked about them last week, and they remain at my number 4 spot because, well, what they're doing has continued to work, honestly. A very stingy defense and a very tough ground game has allowed the New England Patriots to control the tempo of games, win the time of possession battle, and they're succeeding in the turnover differential. One of the top 5 teams in the NFL right now in turnover differential, and they were able to beat a very good Buffalo Bills team at home on Monday Night Football, weather conditions notwithstanding, and they only threw the ball 3 times. One of the more historic performances in the NFL. The last time a team won by throwing less than 5 times, I want to say was, like 6 or 7 years ago. Pretty crazy nonetheless. But the New England Patriots have continued to improve. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the Patriots if the thumbnail didn't give it away later in the video. But right now, they're at my number 4. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. The name of the game for the Packers so far has been the defense. They've been winning the time of possession, as I highlighted last week. And of course, having Aaron Rodgers on the field makes a huge difference. But giving the ball to Aaron Rodgers is going to make a huge difference. The Green Bay Packers right now are top 10 in yards allowed this season, 5th in points allowed this season, and I'm honestly shocked more people aren't talking about this. The Green Bay Packers defense has been performing exceptionally so far this year. Hats off to head coach Matt LaFleur, honestly. They've been playing really well, and they're very deserving of the number 3 spot. Number 2 on the list, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are leading in the passing game right now. They are 2nd in yards per game, 1st in passing yards per game, and points per game in the NFL right now, in large part to, honestly, MVP frontrunner Tom Brady. Tom Brady's playing at an incredible clip right now, on pace to throw for almost 50 touchdowns so far this season. The return of Rob Gronkowski is going to help this offense, and heck, getting Antonio Brown potentially back in the next few weeks. Whether or not he's on the team, a little bit of his status up in the question right now. But the Buccaneers offense is playing incredibly well. But what isn't being talked about, in my opinion, enough is they are leading the league, tied with the Baltimore Ravens in rushing yards allowed per game, 84.3 per game allowed on the ground. So they are forcing their opponents to pass the ball, forcing their opponents to be predictable. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very deserving of the number 2 spot. Number 1, it's the Arizona Cardinals. And I know the offense has a lot of key playmakers getting back on the field. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and company going to be incredibly explosive with those 2 on the field, honestly. But the defense, as I've highlighted a lot so far in this power ranking, is the name of the game. Right now, the Arizona Cardinals defense is top 5 in yardage, passing, and scoring defense, and they are plus 12 on the turnover differential. So they're keeping their opponents off of the field, and they're not turning the ball over, keeping the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Arizona so far has been a very scary team to play against. They're the number 1 ranked team in the NFL, and very much so like the Patriots, they have not lost a single away game. They haven't lost on the road at all this season. So honestly, Arizona very deserving of the number 1 spot. Our matchups and our power rankings out of the way, it's time to move on to our third segment. It's time to move on to picks. On a bye this week, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles, Miami Dolphins, Indianapolis Colts, and the New England Patriots. The first game I want to spotlight, the New Orleans Saints heading into New York to take on the Jets. I think the New Orleans Saints in this matchup have a very good shot. Quarterback situation notwithstanding, Sean Payton's just going to be a better coach than Robert Saleh. Give me the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta and the Carolina Panthers. This one's probably going to be pretty close in my estimation, but I think Atlanta might be able to pull this one out. Cordarrelle Patterson has been honestly unguardable this entire season. The dude is a Swiss Army knife. Give me the Falcons. Seattle and the Houston Texans. Seattle needs every win they can, and against the Texans, they should get it. Give me the Seahawks. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs at home in this one. They got 5 straight wins. They're looking to make it 6. Baltimore and the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is coming off a bye in which they had played the Ravens previously, and coming out of that bye are now playing the Ravens again. I think they're going to have a lot of time to study the Ravens. They're going to have had a lot of film to go over these last few weeks. I think it's going to give them the advantage. Give me the give me the Cleveland Browns. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Washington football team. Washington is ramping up, trying to make the playoffs, and I think this is going to be a good one, but give me the Dallas Cowboys. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee absolutely needs its wins to try to make the number 1 spot in the AFC. Give me the Tennessee Titans. The New York Giants taking on the LA Chargers. The Giants have been pretty abysmal this season, so I'm going to take the favorite. Give me the Chargers. The Detroit Lions taking on the Denver Broncos. Detroit finally got its first win last week in an upset over the Minnesota Vikings, but I'm going to take the Denver Broncos in this one. I just think they have a better squad overall. San Francisco taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the offense is going to win the day for Cincinnati. Give me the Bengals. Buffalo Bills taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in what should be an exciting matchup. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. Chicago and Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. Green Bay coming off of a bye is going to demolish. Give me the Packers. And finally, Monday Night Football, the LA Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I think Arizona could get the nod in this one in a very tough game. And finally, it's time for our storylines. And the lone storyline I wanted to highlight, I got the Patriots shirt on. The thumbnail's probably going to be Patriots something. Look, the New England Patriots are terrifying. They're scary, and every team in the NFL should absolutely be on notice. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC right now with a game lead over the rest of the competition. And honestly, it has a lot to do with Bill Belichick. A 1-year turnaround for this New England Patriots team. They are on the heels of a 7-game win streak right now, going into the latest bye in NFL history among a few other teams. This New England Patriots team right now is doing everything that they want. Honestly, they ran the ball, 45 times against the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills just didn't stop it. They only threw the ball 3 times and successfully won the game. 2 for 3 passing from Mac Jones. Mac Jones, speaking of which, has been he's been really good this season, honestly. One of the highest rated completion percentages in the entire NFL. Mac's not making a lot of bad decisions, keeping this offense on the field, and with 2 Defensive Player of the Year candidates. At least a couple of guys that are in the conversation. J.C. Jackson and Matt Judon for this Patriots defense. This team has a lot of very good playmakers on both sides of the football. Not a bunch of sexy names necessarily, but the Patriots, through very good coaching and a lot of sound, fundamental football, are winning every single game. At least they've won the last 7 weeks. Going into this bye week and heading closer and closer to the postseason, the New England Patriots are looking like a team that nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to play against Bill Belichick. The preparation is going to be there. The offense is going to be there. The defense is going to be there. The special teams, excuse me, still needs maybe a couple of touches here and there. They've allowed a couple of plays this season, but you've got an all-pro player in Matthew Slater even on the special teams. So the Patriots right now, all the pieces are coming together. Everything is clicking for the Patriots. The AFC has been incredibly wide open, but the Patriots are the only team I can look at right now in the AFC and say, this team is playing consistent football from top to bottom. So that's the highlight. That's the storyline. The New England Patriots should be feared. And with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, feel free to check me out on all my social medias down in the description below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. Without your views, without the likes, the comments, all the support, and of course all of you guys who have subscribed, I want to keep making this content. Honestly, I make this for you guys. I enjoy making this for you guys, and I'm really happy you're all here. So if you haven't subscribed already, I'd really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button down below. Thank you so much. And with all that out of the way, my name is Tristan Blake Rines. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Adios.